Hello, good evening, and welcome back to JACKOCAR. This is the Kia series, and you're joining me, Gareth Hall, in the commentary box for the final round of the regular season. One more to go before we hit that post-season, and I'm currently feeling a little bit under the weather. So if I am to retire and expire halfway through this race, you will be hearing the sultry words of Owen White, who joins me tonight. Good evening, Owen.
Good evening, Gareth, and yes, I'll try and save you if you end up becoming ill. And I tell you what, Jacko's in this race again as well, so if he ends up crashing out, which he probably will, he may have a chance at saving you as well. But yeah, this should be an interesting one tonight. We all love a bit of Austria on the F1 game, especially in JACKOCAR. And 7 drivers are going for the regular series title tonight, although realistically it'll probably be Yuri that takes it based on how good he is around this place, but you never know. You've got Casper, you can see there, from the Cup Series, also in here to try and ruin his day, so we could have quite a competitive race tonight.
Yeah, we were just saying just before the stream, oh, how the mighty have fallen, Casper, as the Finn drops down into Kia. He really wanted it. He wanted to get it on the record that he raced in Kia. But as Iceman said to me, he was like, oh, it usually makes you feel better if you're coming up from Kia, not going down to Kia. But he's in. We'll see what he can do. Of course, he's on the pad. I believe his brake pedal has broken on his rig, which is why he's on the pad. But we'll see how he goes tonight. We, as you say, are here in Austria, which is, and always has tended to be, the final round of the regular season slot for both Cup Series and Kia Series over the last few seasons. Does throw up a pretty good race wherever it is on the calendar, whether that be at the end, at the start, and of course whether it be for the regular season championship or even as Yuri's getting ready to go. As we say, but yeah, looking forward to it. As you say, it's a short track. It's one that possibly will see a few safety cars. We know that people can get it wrong, especially on the exit like turn 6. We know people can spin on the exit of turn 1 if they hit the brakes or hit the bump on the entry to turn 1. It's a 4.3 kilometre circuit. It's 2.6 miles, fourth shortest on the F1 calendar and the shortest lap time of the F1 calendar. It's a 185 metre long start from P1 down to turn 1. Longest straight is 861 metres from the exit of turn 1 through to turn 3. Top speed around about 190 to 192 miles an hour. Full throttle 66% of the lap. Gear changes 27, not too many because of course it's all straights around here. 27 over the lap, that makes 1,917 over a 50% distance. We've got 10 turns, kind of recognised turns, and 3 DRS zones, 1 from the exit of turn 1 through to turn 3, 1 from the exit of turn 3 down to turn 4, and 1 from the exit of turn 10 down to turn 1. It's a Grand Prix that's been first held since 1970. It's changed a couple of layouts. Of course, it was formerly known as the A1 ring. It's now the Red Bull ring. So the guys there that well, effectively it's taken over by the Dutch fans, and kind of expecting it tonight, Owen, is that we, as you say, we've seen Yuri and Leroy both do very well here, both in the Kia Series and in the Cup Series. In the Cup Series, just a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we raced here in Cup. Yuri qualified in P6 and Leroy P4.
Yeah, so that they know what they're doing around here, and I'm expecting them to sort of run away with it a bit tonight. And Yuri, let's say, going for that regular series title against his brother. I suppose Leroy may try and do a few tactics, but they're friendly enough when they fight. But yeah, those two are the ones I expect to see up there. I've got to say, by the way, fantastic facts there. I couldn't think of that many facts if I tried. And if anyone at home managed to remember any of those, and you're a better man than me, because that was mad.
I've got 3 more pages of them, so I'll list them out as we're going. But yeah, we're getting ready to kick off here. We'll go over to qualifying. Of course, for those that are new to JACKOCAR, it is a one-shot quali session, but not in the way that you know it. They won't be going out all in one go. It is effectively the old hot lap system that we've seen used once, I think, in F1, but also we see over the likes of effectively IndyCar, NASCAR. They go out and get the effective chance of getting up to speed would be the outlap, and then of course setting that one flying lap. So we will see going in descending order in the championship. So the guys that are lowest in the championship will come out first, and the guys that are leading the way, which will be the likes of Jessica Ball and Yuri Haselager, will be coming out in the last slots, which are around about the 2 minute, or it is the 2 minute 30 mark. There you go. So plenty of time for him to sit there and kind of watch what's going on. And of course, will we see weather conditions possibly play into the fact here? It does tend to every now and then just throw up a little bit of a wet race, or go from a dry session to a wet session, or vice versa, as we're just waiting on Quinn to load in. And I think this is exactly the same issue we had with Quinn last week, so hopefully he'll be able to rejoin us in quali. I'd imagine he'll jump out and then we'll see him jump back in very, very shortly. But one joker tonight. So joker, for those that are new, is effectively everyone is running a mandatory 2-stop qualifying, apart from one person, or well, I say one person tonight. It can be any amount of drivers over one race. They can elect to have one race over the season, whether that be in the regular season or in the postseason. Any race apart from the Championship 5, where they only have to do the one stop. And tonight that is set to be Harry Collier 98, who's currently P7 in those standings. Of course, no provisional time. So Owen, a lap here that, as we were talking about just before the stream, it's quite a tricky one to throw a joker in, because we do tend to see safety cars, and also a 2-stop around here isn't actually that bad.
Yeah, and I think 2-stops around here have been made easier this week, and I think joker's effectiveness have been made less, because you can now choose what your balanced set of tyres, your softer set of allocation, or your sort of harder allocation. EA and Codemasters have finally let us do that again, so you can have 4 sets of softs in qualifying, or 2 sets and a couple of mediums and hards. And so that makes the guys who aren't on a joker have more options for the race. If they fancy more of the harder compound tyres to switch to between safety cars or more of the soft tyres, they can do that now. And so a joker run here has indeed been made that little bit more difficult, because safety cars will play a part, and so you'll see a lot of people being able to be a bit more creative during those safety cars, because they can pit onto whatever they want and they'll be able to plan that in advance.
Can indeed, as we've got 18 minutes on the clock for qualifying. We're set to have our first qualifier go out in about a minute's time, which will be, I believe, Mick Schumacher. So Marco Schneider in his second race in the Kia Championship, third race in JACKOCAR. Of course, he made a debut, first of all, in the Cup Series in COTA a few weeks ago. COTA? It wasn't COTA. Where was it? I was thinking it was COTA last time. Ooh. Was it Jed?
Where was it? I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
Well, he was definitely racing in COTA, but I forget which I forget which Cup Series race he did. That's the problem.
There we go. But as Casper says, it's me. Oh, it's Casper first. So Casper goes out first. There we go. And he's put a medium set of tyres on. So pretending like he's going to be competitive on the mediums. Good luck, Casper. If you don't get pole position, everyone's going to think you're washed and you'll need to retire immediately.
I think they think that already, did it not?
Oh, well, yeah, no, as you say, he's dropped down into Kia, so it's not a great sign. We saw it from Pete Knighton, and can he do what Pete did and basically rock up, take pole, and effectively lead the race, and then just give up on the final straight and gift it to
Jacko.
Well, yeah, I was going to say there's no ART drivers in here, is there? So he's going to have to perhaps relinquish it to one of the speed guys, because I'm expecting to see the likes of Leroy, of Yuri, not discounting, because I'm just looking at the form of the results. Last time we were here was on the 10th of May, which was the final round of the regular season in Season 3, 175 days ago. It was Leroy that qualified on pole ahead of Sully and Newgarden, so it was an all-speed top 3. And in the race, it was a name that I'm not accustomed to. I don't believe they raced here for very long. Wet Lemon. Your guess is as good as mine. With Newgarden P2 and Leroy in P3. As Casper's now gone for the full wet, so he really is trying to test himself, which is definitely the bravest thing to do. It's effectively one of those days where the cars go out and what's it called? The demo days. They do, shakedown filming days, isn't it? With put a set of wets on and make it look like they're actually doing something. There we go. Wet Lemons is called Sean Caldwell. He won this race in his only ever JACKOCAR race. There you go, 1 for 1. Might as well retire after that.
Record. That is a good record. I retired after one race, having only got a podium in that one, so I might have to enter the Kia Series myself at some point and just rock up and start pad a victory. That appears to be the way of the land. We thought Pete was going to do that once, didn't we?
We did.
Jeddah. But here comes Casper out onto the track, and he's got, well, it must be one of the Halloween liveries, this, isn't it?
I believe it is. I think we've... yeah, you were a day late. There's all black livery with two eyes on either side. So we'll see if I'd imagine that quite a few people are going to run this livery. I'm pretty sure Quinn's running a version of this livery as well. So will we see multiple of those? But Casper has decided that perhaps the full wets aren't the right way to go, and he's put on a set of soft tyres. Now,
Brave decision.
Yeah, what are you expecting from Casper? As you say, he's onto the pad, so he's maybe not going to have the same pace we see him have in Cup, but we're still expecting pole to be in the low 1 minute 5. So where would you like to see Casper put in the car?
Well, I'm expecting that Casper's doing this as more sort of an acclimatisation exercise because, as you say, having had the issues with his wheel, he's had to be back to pad. This is quite a good pad track, so it's not a bad spot for you to get acclimatised. So I would expect him to be in those sort of low 1 minute 5s and hopefully see him on the pace. But he's got to get round a lap and keep it valid, which isn't the easiest thing to do, Gareth.
It's not indeed, as he comes up to turn 1, and this is one where we will see a number of invalidations, and he misses the apex by quite a while there. Like, gives himself enough space to get around it. It's not good. It's going to cost him a little bit of lap time, but if you don't hit the bump, you don't get... Well, unfortunately, that bump gives you underbody damage if you hit it too hard on this one, because he's soaring at the wheel a little bit into turn 3, but he can now open the DRS and get a little bit of speed advantage going down towards turn 4. Downhill braking off camber, very easy to lock the tyres if you're running no assists, and Casper making his way through turn 4, through the kink at turn 5. These guys do an average of 142 to 145 miles an hour around this lap, so it's all about keeping momentum up. You kind of want to keep off that curb on the inside of turn 7 because that can really turn you around. But it's a good solid lap so far for Casper. What we can do is he comes up to penultimate corner, turn 9 and turn 10. You want to run the curb on both sides. Into the final corner, he's going to go out quite wide, and it's going to be a high 5, early 6. Oh, that's a 6.5 there. So yeah, not a mega lap there from Casper as he, as you say, acclimatises to pad versus wheel.
And here is Mick Schumacher in his Prema. I'm going to assume this is meant to be. They have an F2 throwback here as he heads through, trying to maybe get a bit more success than the real Mick Schumacher's managed in real F1. Although he's cruising around and spinning off, so I've absolutely jinxed that completely. Although, coming from the back of the grid means the only way is up, I suppose, but that is definitely not the way that Markus Schneider would have wanted his qualifying to end up.
No, and that stank of tyre pressures being too high, because he didn't even touch the curb on the inside of turn 7, so unfortunately for Marco, he's going to be starting at the back of this one. So next up, it's the Joker. We go over to Harry Collier, who's on his outlap, another red and white livery, so that's going to be great fun. As we've got coming across the line, there's the 121. So there you go, there's your back marker benchmark, is Marco Schneider. So what can Harry Collier do? Running the Joker tonight, so he'll only be making one stop, so expecting to see him probably or perhaps even start on a set of hard tyres and run long, but of course you kind of are at the mercy of front wing damage there. But into turn 1, what do we see from Harry? What's happening? Please tell me what's happening.
Oh, it's just the way you said front women.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Jumping over my own words there. Well, maybe you might like some front women damage, but
possibly.
Yeah. As Harry makes his way down the DRS straight into turn 4, downhill, keep the tyres from locking up, cut in, use the apex and run out wide, and he does quite nicely. But clearly running a setup, so allowing him to carry as much cornering speed as possible. It's a very low downforce circuit. He's going to run up slightly wide, and that is an invalidation, and not great as Jamie's caught it as well. There's just me talking. I'm going to blame it on the fact that I'm almost dead. So my brain isn't working properly, but unfortunately for Harry, that's an invalidation. He is going to be starting in the back, which on a Joker may not be the worst thing if you can stay out of the chaos at the start of the race.
Yep, and it's about to get worse for everyone, because here comes Kaya, the only driver I've ever seen hit the grass in turn 2, which isn't even really a corner. But you know what, actually, Kaya, this should be a bit of an easier run for him, because Kota, he clearly struggled quite a lot with a pace. I think he had damage in the car as well, I think. So hopefully we'll see a bit of a better showing from today. And do you know what? As long as it keeps it valid, it will surely go at least second fastest. And with how people are messing their laps up at the minute, it'll put him in a good starting point for the race itself as he heads through the middle sector. No purple sector, but we'll still be able to keep it going. And only has 2 more corners to make this one work. Through turn 9, easy to go wide here, and he's doing just that. But can he get away with it? I have a feeling that's a tactic we might see a couple of drivers using. As Kaya comes up to the line, it will not go fastest, but will be just 3/10 off Casper. Interesting tactic there. I wonder how many others are going to use that.
It was, and if I'm Casper, I'm looking at Kaya as a real threat tonight, with a time that's only 3/10 of a second off him. So, as you say, well done, Casper. Well done, Kaya, keeping it on the circuit and at least getting a lap in. Now over to Indecisive, another red car, red and white livery, which is going to be great.
You can tell we're in Austria, can't you?
Yeah, running the very much the Austrian flag livery. But Indecisive coming into the final 2 corners off his lap. Had a bit of an off-season, not really managed to find his way in towards the upper end of the grid. He's going to lose the back end, and he's going to lose the front right tyre and leave it parked in the middle of the circuit, right in front of the car next to start their lap, which I believe was Bazza. So over to...
Oh, and Quinn off as well at the Verstappen corner. He's the only driver I've ever seen crash there, so it's the Verstappen corner, this. A lot of drivers are losing their laps then. This is nearly as bad as I've seen it all season in Cup and Kia combined. So this is meaning that Casper, who's struggling on that pad, but getting a lap in is proving very important to him because he sits there currently in P1. Kaya, the only other driver of the multiple we've seen go so far, only 2 of them actually having a representative time in. Remarkable. How can Bazza do? He's used to heartbreak around this track. It'd be about time he had something go right for him as he heads through turn 5 and 6.
Does indeed, and can he keep it on the circuit? As you say, as we come into this corner, keep off that curb on the left hand side, don't run over this one on the right. And he does so. It's all about consistency and carrying on the momentum going through the last 2 corners. Ride this curve, use the left side. He had a little bit of room there to run out a little bit wider, but carries the speed through the final corners. A little bit of debris to the right hand side, but he keeps well out of the way of it. And it's going to be a 6-3, puts himself on provisional pole position. Finally, someone's knocked Casper off his spot, and it is Bazza leading us now over to Rageman out on his lap. Another red car.
Also known as Robin, as he heads himself round the middle sector. We saw Baz's time then. Finally, as you say, the first one to topple Casper's monopoly of that P1 so far today. Rageman, Robin with a purple middle sector, and looked a lot more confident through turns 7 and 8 than Baz did on board. So I'm expecting this to be the first time in the 1 minute 5s, assuming it all goes to plan through the last 2 corners. Don't hit the curb too hard in the last corner, can spit you off the road, but he's managed to get through, and I believe it will be P1 by nearly a second.
Yeah, good lap there from Robin Border, making sure that he got the lap in and puts it on provisional pole position, which takes us over to Mr. Jacko himself running that Mercedes livery. And he's currently making his way through the second sector now. He's just finished turn 3 down towards turn 4. Jacko looking for another good result. Of course, winner back in Jeddah in controversial fashion, taking the having a penalty removed and managing to take it ahead of Sully. So it was him that snatched it ahead of Speed Sully, who has advanced on points, has Sully. So he'll be glad to get through anyway. But what can Jacko do in through the exit of... Well, effectively down to sector 3, 2 more corners left to go. What can he do? Keep it on, keep the there we go, word in there somewhere. Keep the foot pinned. He runs out wide though, and that's an invalidation at the final corner, which would have been a 6 flat and put him in P2.
Oh, Jacko. Embarrassing, that is. We'll definitely not let him forget that one. As we move on to Newgarden, I believe. He's in the middle sector. And we'll see how he gets on. So that still means then we've only seen 4 representative times left. Well, when the timer comes back on, you'll see just how far we're into this now. But unfortunately, the timer will not come back on now, so I can't tell you how long's left. So you just got to take my word for it. We haven't got very long left as Newgarden heads through the last 2 corners. There you go, just under 4 minutes. So that's how slow this has been so far, with how many mistakes have been made. This will create a very exciting race because you'll see so many drivers out of position. Newgarden now very much in position. P2, decent lap.
Yeah, nice lap there from Matt Roseman. Puts himself up, of course, race winner in Monaco. His first race win here in JACKOCAR, and well deserved it was, but still 4/10 of a second off of Robin Border. So a lot of work to do. Now over to, we've got both Lesty and Leroy out on circuit. So it's Lesty that's going to set the time first. Matt Lester, who's joined this season and without a win has basically got himself into the playoffs by just being consistent, much like me in the Cup, just picking up points, hasn't where he needed to. Yellow flag out on the circuit. I think that's for Jacko getting out the way. It will be. As Matt Lester coming up to the final two corners. It's all about keeping on the black stuff for these two corners here. Don't let it run out too wide, as he does, but he gets away with it. Will he loses the speed through the final corner, though.
Lost his time as well.
And unfortunately, that's another one that is letting the others off the hook a little bit. But now over to Leroy, who's now coming to the final two corners. He's gone purple, supposedly, in Sector 2. What can he do into the final two corners? And Leroy, of course, P4 in the Cup Series just a few weeks ago, set a time of a 1:05.237, and he's 0.3 of a second slower, but just manages to take provisional pole.
Yes, just a bite into P1. That was very tight indeed, that. And we'll see Sully next up, I believe. Let's see how he can get on through the middle sector, still keeping it valid. So, well, still, at maximum, we're only going to end up with 9 representative times in this session. That is quite remarkable. But this is really at the sharp end of the championship night. Sully heading through the middle sector. The game claims it's purple. I wonder if one day they will actually fix that and give us representative sector times, because, I mean, it's unbelievable how bad the system actually is. And all the beta testing we do for this game every year, and they never once think to give us commentators a bit more information. The only information we get is right now, where the purple final sector somehow doesn't produce a purple lap, so I guess it was a bad sector 1. Well, knowing the game, they'll probably say it was purple as well.
I mean, it's been in the game for years now, and I've been crying out that there needs to be some... I mean, the amount of exposure that F1 Esports has had, that they don't make the spectate mode more intuitive for commentators is mind-blowing, with camera angles, with more detail, more stats. But what can Jess do? Of course, commentator herself, and does an extraordinary job of it, coming up to the final corner, second in the regular season championship, coming into this round. What can she do up to the line? It's going to be a high 6, or a low 6, it's 6.2. It's a P5, so good lap there from Jess, puts herself behind Newgarden and in front of Bazza, which leads us only one person. Yuri decided it wasn't time for the full wets. He's gone for the soft tyres. What can he do? He, of course, in the Cup Series 2 weeks ago, did a time of 1:05.488. So that's his benchmark that took him P6 in the Cup Series. What can he do this evening as he heads down towards turn 4? And the man that everyone is looking to beat tonight to stop him from winning the regular season championship.
Yep, the reigning series champion in general as well, so he's certainly got the target on his back. But based on that middle sector, I think he's looking good to challenge for pole position. It's only 0.069 between the top 3 at the minute. If he keeps this form up, he'll be able to blow them all out of the water. But I kind of slightly hope he does make a mistake, because it's always nice to have a close qualifying. But when you've got someone as quick as Yuri out there, it's hard to do it, as he goes P1 by nearly half a second. And well, it was inevitable, wasn't it, really? Can Yuri go on and win this race and win the regular series title with it? I honestly would say he's a good bet for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that time, actually, I think would have got him pole position in the Cup Series if he'd done that 2 weeks ago. So, good lap there from Yuri, really good lap, a 1:05.095. The gap between Sully and Robin for 3 and 4, 1,000th of a second, which is effectively just a frame, isn't it? So it's crazy, the gap between these guys as they go around that 65-second lap. But if you look at qualifying there, like, as you say, 5 people without a lap, which is quite high for around here, because, I mean, it can be easy to get it wrong, but we saw a lot of spins rather than invalidations. The likes of Quinn going off as well, and so, I mean, Kaya and Casper, like, we kind of like bemoaned the spin from Robin, from Marco, but he's going to be starting P10, so he's not out of the question at the top of this one. So Yeah, it's mixed up the grid quite nicely. We've got some guys like Matt Lester's going to be coming from the back. We've got Jacko coming from the back as well. Quinn's going to have some work on his hands because he's a man that's desperately in need of a good result. But some work to do for race winner and well, potential Championship 5 hope Jacko starting at the back of this one.
Indeed, so we will, hopefully get a good race through all this. But, it just requires someone to George Russell Yuri out of the way. But here is the grid anyway. Yuri from Leroy, Sully, Rageman, Newgarden, Jess, Baza, Casper, Kaya, Mick Schumacher or Marco, and then Quinn. So, it's weird. There's only 5 people who didn't actually get time in, but that's because 2 of the guys that messed them up still got to the line. But yeah, indecisive Jet O'Harry, Vitinho, and Matt Lest with the invalid times. So, yeah. Oh, I'd like a bit of weather, just a wee sprinkle in the middle of the race.
I mean, I always do like the wet, dry, wet, or the like vice versa, where we get multiple and it's all on strategy. That's the kind of race we're after, isn't it? But we're getting ready to go. Of course, no formation lap. They still haven't fixed that one, so we will go straight into the race as soon as the countdown timer goes down to 0. Points in this one, it is 20 points for the win and 15 points from second down to any remaining finisher. So 15 for second and descending down to 1 for those that finish between what would be 16th and 20th. Of course, we won't have that this evening. And darker skies above the circuit. So will we see a potential weather system come in? Just going back through the comments to see if anyone has mentioned it. I'm not seeing any weather predictions for anyone in the back or in the garages at the moment. But, hopefully we see something that perhaps shakes it up a little bit. Of course, playoff points for this one. They are not just fighting for the regular season championship, they're also fighting playoff points. Stages, lap 9 and lap 18. Of course, 5 points in the playoffs for a victory. 1 for a pole position, which has gone to Yuri. Of course, 1 for fastest lap as well. And of course, they're fighting now for the playoff points that go towards the regular season championship. 12, 6 and 3 for first, second and thirds. We get ready to kick off this final round of the JACKOCAR Kia Series. Final round of 8 here in the pre-season, in the regular season. Before we go to the postseason, we've got 4, 5 lights, pause, out, and away they go. It's a good start from the front 2 as both the Hasselagers are in 1 and 2. Sully, Newgarden, Rageman and up the inside, and Leroy takes the lead. So Leroy somehow in P2, Yuri now down into second, Sully, Newgarden, Jess, Kaya up to P6. So that's a bit of a mad start because look at the grid spread already. They've already got a gap of 6 seconds down to Rageman at the pack. Yeah,
that is interesting to see. Clearly a couple of incidents happening at that first corner. But the big winners then, obviously Leroy, the move on his brother was very good, but definitely Quinn, the biggest winner on these harder medium compound tyres, making 5 spots up. And, he has got front wing damage, so I'm just saying. There always has to be a twist, doesn't there? And there's a few out there with front wing damage. There's going to be a few pit stops out here when we get to the pit lane, so that'll be certainly part of the field spread. Obviously, an early pit stop isn't the end of the world because it does get a mandatory stop out of the way as Kaya falls through the field. But how many are going to pit? We've got Leroy, Yuri, Newgarden, Jess will stay out, Sully will lead the race, but definitely a good handful of stops, at least 6 of them already in.
Yeah, it's going to be busy, isn't it? We've got Casper speeding in the pit lane early, first lap of the race, and he's already got himself a 5-second penalty. So, who have we got in the box? Leroy, Yuri, Newgarden, Quinn, all the speed drivers are in. Casper, Rageman and Marco, as Jacko is facing the back of both Harry Collier and Vitinho going in towards turn 3. And Kaya is... no. Jacko's going to, unfortunately, park it facing the wall. As he just lights up the rear tyres, unfortunately, for Jacko there. And will he get caught out on... Yeah, he's going to have to wait, and unfortunately, he's going to see both the Hasselagers stream past him now, so hopefully he can get into the toe of them. But yeah, what's that, a 6-second loss at least, so not great for Jacko, who already had a poor qualifying session, now finds himself down in 11th position.
Well, he finds himself essentially a pit stop down as Patino goes off the road as well through the middle of turn 6. Can he get himself back on without causing any issues as Sully, the race leader, into the pits? I believe Jess will start, so she will now take the lead. Will she start to pick up some playoff points while she's out there? I would imagine she probably will, because the chances of winning the regular season title for her is a bit slim tonight, but picking up more playoff points when you have the opportunity is vital, as we see Yuri and Leroy making their second stops, I believe. So that's them getting themselves completely covered for safety cars. As Vitinho gets disqualified for blocking the pit lane. Now that could be a safety car actually, considering where he is, but the game has moved him out of the way. And Kaya fighting with Harry Collier there through the DRS, which is now enabled. Baza side by side with Matt Leslie as well. So they're certainly all going for it out there. A bit of a disjointed start to the race just due to all the pit stops, but eventually it will get itself in order, as I believe there's another car off at turn 3, and I believe it might well be Jacko again, as Harry Collier and Kaya still fight, and they still make contact. This is going to be a bit like USA again, where we're just waiting for the actual big accident to happen, because they're all over each other. This is fantastic stuff.
Yeah, Harry unfortunately got a little bit of a bumper run there from Kaya going into turn 5 and turn 6, and Kaya gets ahead of him, but Kaya being Kaya, he's already run out of battery, and Austria, not an easy track to recover ERS, because there's not particularly many braking points that you can slam on and regain it. But well, yellow flag once again. Is that for Jacko again? Oh, Jacko, surely there's floor damage. That's 3 spins already. Is this going to be the curse of the floor damage that we've seen the likes of Jamie Griffiths? Of course, we saw Iceman last week as well as Matt Lester now closing in on Baza, and they swap positions down towards turn 4, and Matt Lester now up 1.8 seconds behind Jess, and as you say, yeah, Jess possibly looking for playoff points now. She's actually tied with Yuri at the top of the regular season standings on 78 points, so if she finishes ahead of him, she can, in theory, win the regular season. It's Yuri's winning it on position count back at the moment, I believe, and of course he's got much more playoff points, 20 playoff points to Jess's 5. Of course, Jess won the opening race of the season in Australia, as Harry Collier trying desperately to get past Kaya.
Let's not try it in there, lads. There'll be an airplane crash.
And I mean, Kaya, he's going to have. You have to get out the throttle because he took such a poor run into it. He's going to try and block the middle of the circuit. Harry's going to have to go around the outside. He's got DRS and should easily sweep round, but Kaya's going to go deep and surely go off the circuit. But
he'll get DRS as well, I believe. Will Kaya, because he was behind in a detection point, and so that does actually work out quite nicely for him. He has also got the soft compound tyres. And surely Harry Collier will just sit back and take that next DRS, and surely this will be the time to overtake him.
Yeah, and effectively the DRS up from turn 1 to turn 3 is almost a little bit pointless, because the one down from turn 3 to turn 4 is the one where you need to make your overtakes. You can get past on 1 to 3, but effectively they can just come straight back past you if you've made the overtake too early. So Harry, I'm sure, quite frustrated sitting behind Kaya, who will have that power disadvantage having no battery already, but you can see Harry sitting there on 70% still, so he's got the energy use if he needs it, and he has to get out the throttle because he's running a completely different line trying to fire Wayne past Kaya. But to his credit, Kaya sitting in P5, yet to make the stop, of course, but there will be, I'm sure there'll be safety cars and various other things coming into play later on in this race. Here we go, Kaya, once again, Harry with the run on Kaya. He's not going to make the move into turn 1, surely. He's way too far back, but there we go, thinks better of it. Runs the yellow curb, which can give you floor damage, but as Leslie and Bazza trade positions again up at the end of P3, turn 3. But yeah, as you say, good scrap between these two. Nice and fair and clean as into the box comes Sully.
Yeah, and off the track goes Harry Collier and his fight with Kaya. So will Kaya be able to come back at him? I think this time Harry has got the move done on that Joker, and he does now need to get down the road and just try and get a decent gap, because his main rival, if he's looking for the race win, Leroy, is well within his pit window and already finished his strategy, although will be so slow at the end of the race on hard compound tyres. That is where the advantage will come for Harry later on in this race. As we see the race leader, Jess, into the pits. I'm not sure she'll pick up a playoff point for that, will she?
Nope, lap
no,
9.
She will not. So why has she done that then? I would have at least got the first playoff point and then pitted.
Yeah. I mean, unless she's just sticking to strategy, of course, the soft tyres, they can last around here. So perhaps just use them maybe a little bit too much too early. Of course, she is on medium traction, getting used to it. So perhaps may have just jammed the throttle on a little bit too much out of some of these corners, burned the tyres. As we've still got this battle now going on between Bazza and Matt Lester. So
Life for the lead, isn't it? So
yeah,
it's been upgraded, this battle.
Down in towards turn 4, decides better of it, and Bazza putting his car in all the right places, and this is good to see from Bazza, who gets it slightly over the top of the curb, and that unsettles the car, but he's managing to keep it in front of Matt Lester, and they've got themselves a 5-second advantage over Indecisive, who's currently running in P3. These guys, of course, started on the soft tyres. Indecisive, the highest run of the mediums.
Just want to interrupt because here comes Leroy. He's trying to get through some of the one-stoppers now, and he's trying to get 2 in one go, and he's going to do it, you know. On the inside of Quinn, he got Marco on the way down to turn 4, and then out the way through 5 and 6, Leroy gets by 2 cars and 1. That'll give him a big gap over Yuri in the fight for the race win today.
Yeah, just looking at where Yuri is in comparison, as Newgarden and Kaya are battling. Kaya's now into the box, so Kaya coming into the box. Turn your battery off, Kaya. You don't need it. You're coming into the pit lane. So Jess out onto a set of mediums, but into P6, so a solid start for her. As you say, Yuri, the hards for him, so running long.
Here comes Lesty.
As you say, Lesty and Baz are fighting for position once again down into turn 4. These two trading positions seemingly every lap at the moment. So Lesty now up into P1, Baz down to P2. These guys surely will effectively race to the line for the playoff point now, because it's going to be lap 9 and lap 18 for the playoff points. It's Lesty leading the way now. Bazza down in P2. Will we see Bazza jump into the pit lane, knowing that Matt Lester is going to have the run to the line? It looks as though they're both staying out. So playing still trying to lean on these tyres. And Matt Lester comes across the line to start lap 9. And has a 2/10 of a second lead over Bazza, but Bazza closing up, and these two both get a really nice run out of turn 1, and you can see Bazza's going to line him up going up the straight. DRS wide open once again. He's going to get the run going up into the corner, and Bazza sends it down the inside, but they're side by side. Matt's going to give him the space, and nicely done between the pair of them. Bazza has to get out the throttle and reshape himself up. He does manage to hold on to DRS though. Will he have the space? Because of course he had to scrub off some speed, and he's not going to have the room to go down the inside. Just had to get out the throttle because of the side by side nature of it, and into is
Casper's
that
off.
Casper?
Got to be careful when he comes back on that there's no one around him, but luckily Jacko was coming into the pits. So Casper, well, more struggles for him, unfortunately.
Perhaps he should stay in Kia.
Well, maybe he's found his level.
It's a snap of steering as he comes around turn 1 as well. Looks as though he's got away with any wing damage though, but as Lesty and Baz are swapping positions again into the final corner. Lesty's gone around, so he's picked up his playoff point. He's decided to box off of those soft tyres, so that promotes Baz now.
I think Bazza took the playoff point, did he not? He was ahead at the end of lap 9. I believe it's his.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I suppose so.
We might have to get a VAR on that one, but I'm pretty sure Bazza got that just in the nick of time. And, he now leads the race and has, I believe, a playoff point to his name as he heads through. Indecisive second, Harry Collier again still on the Joker, but with a penalty now and a lot of dirt on his livery, so he may have been off track once or twice. He only has to stop once more. Leroy's the net race leader based on the fact that he's already made his 2 stops, but he is on a much slower tyre, and you'll expect it later on in the race. The likes of Newgarden, who's a leading 1 stopper so far and catching up to Harry Collier, might well get past him, so he might well be the main guy who can pit for some fresher, faster tyres who'd be able to fight for the win later on. But that is of course all assuming we don't get any safety cars, and well, we're in Austria, we're in JACKOCAR. You tend to get at least one, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, and we could kind of do one to bring the field back together, because the field spread at the moment is crazy. We've got Bazza into the box now, so the last one that started on the softs into the box. So where do we see the undercut from Lesty, where of course those two effectively came in side by side? So where's Bazza going to come out in relation to where Matt Lester is? It looks as though he's going to be he have at least a second or two advantage, as they're both going to exit turn one. But of course, Matt Lester up to speed with warmer tyres, and Bazza just exiting the pit lane now. Where's Leroy? Leroy's not close enough to attack him, so Leroy on those hard tyres is going to struggle to catch up to Bazza. But behind, we've now got Yuri closing in on Quinn, and the speedrunners running 7th, 8th and 9th, and Yuri, knowing that he's fighting for this regular season championship, does Quinn jump out of the way and let him chase down Leroy, because, well, Leroy's gap to Yuri in the points is 3 points. It's 78 points to 75 points. So Leroy is potentially, if he can keep this pace up, got the gap, or almost got the gap that he needs to haul in the points.
Indeed, and he's based on his pace so far. I think he'll be able to do that. It's just whether he'll be able to fight off everyone else who'll be making the strategy calls to actually be on a fresh set of mediums or softs at the end to fight him. So that'll be, as of now, fighting for the win, but obviously later on, having more cars in between you and your rival will be where that gets interesting. As we are only at the 1/3 point of the race. I don't actually mind strategies being dealt with this early on, because it means that at the end of the race you can just go mad for it into safety cars and stuff like that, and you can see some more moves. I mean, we saw it in the real life race as well, that you get a lot of fights in the race even with safety cars and that, so I'm expecting good stuff in Austria, so do stick with us. We've got a fight for the lead already, in fact, because Harry Collier is closing up on the back of Indecisive. And like I say, he's got an interesting position because he's got that penalty. It's just 3 seconds, but that'll stick with him the whole race. I sort of wish you could take 3-second penalties in your pit stop, but unfortunately you're stuck with him until the end, so he'll be hoping there'll be no safety car at any point really today.
Yeah, and he, of course, is running the Joker, so he'll be only doing the one stop tonight, whereas Indecisive, starting on the mediums, has still got 2 to make as Harry rounds the final corner. They're being closed in by Matt Roseman in P3, 1.7 seconds behind, and they'll be starting to get a little bit of a toe off the back of them. And Harry surely has got the speed to catch up and pass Indecisive as Kaya picks up 3 seconds at the exit of turn 7 and turn 8. But Harry not quite close enough to make the move done this lap. Lap 13 of 36, you can see the gap between the first two is 0.4 of a second. That's Indecisive and Harry Collier. And Harry, a little bit of work to do. As you say, sitting on that 3-second time penalty as Marco Schneider gets himself one. Oh, Harry has to really put the brakers on there to stop himself from running into the gearbox of Indecisive. Got caught out on the brakes there. But
I tell you what, Matt Roseman would have loved watching that, because we put him in towards the 1 second zone in the moment. It's 1.13 at the moment, so he's very much in the ballpark. If he can have a good last 2 corners, or if Harry and Indecisive start scrapping, then he'll be well into that fight. And he's got a near 3-second lead on Jess, which means, oh no! Indecisive's gone and stuck it in the wall! Well, didn't see that one coming.
No.
I really didn't see that one coming. And Indecisive then, that could put a safety car out. It certainly puts something.
It does.
It's full safety car. Full safety car.
So debris at the final corner.
Harry Collier, in the nicest possible way, will be livid with this, because even though it's put him into the race lead, it's put the whole field onto the back of him, and he can't even pit under a safety car, because even if he fancied a fresh set of sauce and would do his mandatory stop later on, he wouldn't get any bonuses for his Joker. Although, mind you, he's taken it at a point of the season where he wouldn't get those bonuses anyway, so maybe he will just make a pit stop under this, throw away the Joker bonuses because he doesn't get them, and stick a new set of sauce on and do it again later on in the race to have a proper run at it, because it might be his only option. Yeah,
that is probably the smartest thing to do. As you say, the opportunity for using the Joker kind of a safety car at this point in the race really does hurt him almost as badly as when he comes out with a couple of laps left to go. It's really messed up his chances for strategy.
Yes, he is. He's going to pit.
Yeah, so
the right decision. It's the right decision.
It is.
I expect them all to be into the pits really, if they have their stops completed, or if they're a Joker driver. I'd be amazed if Leroy and Yuri don't pit at some point, but they're both going to stick it out. See, I'm not sure it's the best move, although they're both doing it. But the problem with this is that they'll be left in a situation which we have seen before in JACKOCAR, where you're trying to win a race on the hard compound tyres against guys on new tyres, And what I always worried would happen is that you'd end up with the Silverstone situation, big Charlie Leclerc getting absolutely done by everyone because he's on the wrong tyre. And no matter how good you are, I just don't think against fresh sauce with your Joker driver behind you, he'll be able to pass you, make a gap and pit again. And I wonder if that's a mistake. I do wonder if that's a mistake for those hard runners.
Well, we have seen from the Hasselager brothers that they tend to like these hard tyres. If we hark back to Imola,
they are the ones who know how to win on them. Yeah. They are the experts at this. But
yeah, especially around Austria, the softest rubber definitely wins around here.
3 DRS zones and everything. I mean,
if you go back to last season's Cup race as well, is that we had Yuri winning by being on a softer rubber compared to what we saw from the likes of course, after we had that crash that took with Corey and Kieran and various others, and myself, I think managed to get a P3, making up, I think it was around 6 or 7 seconds in the final 6 laps just by being on soft rubber compared to the mediums in front. So
let's not get too cocky now.
Oh no, of course not. But
Silverstone.
But if we look through the grid, we can see like brand new softs for Harry Collier. He's decided to bin off that Joker. He's still going to have to do another stop, but he's got the opportunity effectively with this restart. All 3 of the speed drivers on 13 and 14 lap old hard tyres. Newgarden as well, who stopped very, very early on the mediums. And Jess is in quite a nice position here. On 9 lap old medium, she's already made a 1 mandatory stop. P2 at the moment. She's got Matt Lester behind as well. So her gap between herself, effectively, she's got Leroy Yuri down on hard tyres in 5th and 6th position. Sully is down in 11th position. Matt Lester is on 73 points overall. So Matt Lester's still in the shout for the regular season championship as well. So it's really at the moment working in the favour of Jess and Matt Lester.
Yeah, I'd agree with that because they just didn't. They've got, as you say, they had the track position as well. They'll be so much quicker on the tyres. Yeah. I want to be proved wrong, by the way. I do want to be proved wrong. I hope Leroy and Yuri can make this work, because if I am being proved wrong, it probably means they're at the front of the race, being absolutely chased down by everyone at the end, and we'll be in for an absolute cracker. But yeah, I do think the other guys ahead have a more of a sort of advantage. But we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping safety car will be in this lap, but it'll be a very late call, and it is a very late call. And so we
love this game.
Yeah, I know. Give them time to prepare. Why don't we?
Yeah, I bet these guys will love it as they've kept their tyres warm. But into the box comes the safety car, and that releases Newgarden, who will set the pace. And will he leave it as late as possible? And DRS zone, I believe, is the activation. There we go, and off he goes. So it's a good restart there from behind. Matt Lester already making the move on Jess, who got a slow restart. So Matt Lester up the inside, and he's going to take P2 by the time they get to turn 1. So great restart there from Matt Lester, and he's already on the back of Newgarden behind. It looks as though everyone's managed to get through turn 1. It looks as though we might have had Jacko and Sully, who's had an issue as well. Sully down a couple of positions. Kaya moves up past Robin Border into 11th position. As down the inside goes Matt Lester on Newgarden.
Look at this. Yuri's going to get through here because of Jess blocking him off. And that's big for the regular series championship. And I tell you what, Leroy's going to be absolutely livid. But Jess is still keeping her nose in as well, as Leroy thinks about it on the inside. Leslie into the race lead as well. So it's all going up. They're still side by side as they head towards turn 6.
Was that Harry Collier as well on the grass on the exit of turn 4? So Harry, on those brand new softs, really needs to be coming through the field behind Rageman, trying to fight for position between himself and Marco Snyder. So Robin and we've got the Prema around, and into him goes Indecisive. Just lost it in exactly the same way.
VSC.
Exactly the same way under the safety car.
Surely time to box under a VSC. Someone's going to try it. Get your manager out of the way. You can do that under VSC, and no one's doing it. Apart from Indecisive, of course.
Is that upgraded to a full safety car? It's just upgraded to a full safety car.
Yeah,
I mean,
that explains it.
That is.
Now, was Indecisive committed into that point? Because if he was, I mean, he put out the first safety car, so he'll be hoping this will be his first mandatory stop, really, won't he? I suppose we may have to get VAR on that one too.
I mean, you would have thought if that had stayed at a VSC that Leroy, Quinn, and Yuri would have boxed, but as soon as it upgraded, of course, they decided to stick it out on these hard tyres. Matt Lester, fantastic restart, utilised the softer rubber to get up ahead of Newgarden, and Baza having a good restart as well up in P3. Yuri, as you say, Yuri and Leroy kind of swarming Jess, who had a shocking restart, seemingly couldn't get the tyres switched back on. She's dropped down from P2 down to P6. Quinn down in 7th. Harry Collier didn't really have a great restart, but yeah, it was once again in exactly the same fashion we saw in qualifying. It was Marco Schneider losing the rear end going around turn 7, and unfortunately right into the path of Indecisive. Kaya taking to the grass as well, and so Indecisive, new wing for him, and into the box comes Leroy.
Yeah, so he's going to get rid of those tyres under safety car, and Lesty's going to take a playoff point under safety car at the end of lap 18. Which we of course have now passed. So Leroy, this will be, I would have thought, for mediums. Same for Sully and same for Schumacher. Obviously front wings for those a lot as well. Though Sully actually is just a genuine pit stop. So Leroy, what this does, it gives him insurance on his tyres, because it means he won't have to worry about it being super slow at the end of the race, because he'll be on, just as fresh tyres as everyone else. They won't be amazing, don't get me wrong, but they'll be better than the hards, which, Yuri has already been on for 16 laps. They'll be completely finished by the checker flag at the rate that they're going, because the field being packed up so much means safety cars are really your only opportunity to pit when you're in that situation. And he's had 2 chances, and he has passed both of them up. Yeah,
it's interesting, because we know that the speed guys will be sitting in the same lobby, in the same party together. So there would have been a strategy call there from Leroy saying, I'm going in, and Yuri deciding to stick out on the hards and thinking it's going to work for him with track position. So brave call from Leroy. He drops down to 11th position. Sully picked up a 5-second speeding penalty going into the pit lane, which under safety car is not great, Sully. Don't need to be rushing in. But if I was him, I would come in and serve that now, cycle to the back, But, well, what's he gone on to? He's gone on to a set of medium tyres. So, the benefit now of the fact that, of course, you can use different tyres in the race, which is, my word, exactly what everyone needed, rather than being locked to using one set of mediums and 40 sets of soft tyres. But into the box.
Softs.
Well, that's a brave call from Jacko. He's hoping to be a rocket ship, but
I'm not allowed to question his strategic calls anymore after Saudi Arabia, when he absolutely climbed on all of us and went and won the race. So,
and he's already had 3 spins. So what can he do from P15?
He's looking for a classic Lewis Hamilton jammy victory thanks to a pit stop under the safety car. It's a tale as old as time. Will we see it repeated once again?
And the benefit here is it's a short pit lane. It's only really a 20-second loss, because you're effectively flooring it on the way in, and apart from the right-handed kink on the exit, it's quite a short one. It's 242 meters long, so it's not actually a particularly time offensive one. But into the pit lane this time will come the safety car, which will release this time Matt Lester. So going from P3 on the last occasion to P1 on this one, and well, he gets a little bit more time to warm up the tyres compared to what Newgarden had last time around, which I think they'll probably be grateful for. But bunching up, we've got 10 lap old mediums versus 18 lap old mediums. Baza on 9 lap old mediums, and behind 17, 13 and 18, and then you go down to Harry Collier on 5 lap old soft. So the tyre changes and the tyre lap length is dramatically different between multiple cars in the top 5. But what can Matt Lester do, restarting under the safety car for a number of occasions so far this season? What can he do? He's crossed the line. He can go at any point to the line now, and off he goes. It's a good restart behind. It's a good restart for Yuri, who's already pulled to the inside of Baza, and they're almost 3 wide going into turn 1. And Yuri is going to be given the space behind. Quinn tries to send it down the inside, somehow kept that in a straight line, and he's already alongside Baza. But Yuri up into P3, exactly what he needed off the restart.
Quinn fancies a move on Yuri as well, but he's got Baza to worry about as they head through towards turn 3 and getting shoved off the road. Charlie Leclerc style again is Baza. That was a proper Verstappen move, that was by Schumacher, who's up into the top 5, having caused the last safety car. That's just how JACKOCAR is for you. But Leslie with a second lead! Oh, well, there it goes now, doesn't it? For Mick Schumacher. And he's another one. It's Harry Collier into him.
Oh,
and that could have been a safety car again. These guys have got to be so careful. But that was way too committed. Way too committed. What that does for Mick Schumacher, it doesn't damage his car that badly, I hope, although his side pods do look a little bit worse for wear, don't they? So he could have side pod damage, but he doesn't even get a safety car this time. He has just thrown it up the inside and got it wrong. As you're in the second place now with Newgarden's pit stop. And I tell you what, that was a heart-stopping moment. I thought we were going to see the whole pack pan into this one, but Yuri is now going to be seeing his brother behind him, and I tell you what, he's now going to be regretting not taking that pit stop. And after the race, I will indeed be telling him off, because it was an obvious strategy call to take, and we know he listens to the streams because he told me his reasons for his livery choices the other week. So we know he listens to me. So Yuri, you got it wrong, my friend.
And,
I'll tell you what though, Jacko as well, up to 7th place. He's basically taken up the Harry Collier route.
Yeah, I was going to say he's avoided the chaos, hasn't he? Because he managed to get around the indifferences we just saw between the likes of Mick Schumacher and Harry Collier. Jess is into the box. She's made a stop. Newgarden as well. Yuri had to get out of the throttle big time because Newgarden was coming into the pit lane on the really awkward. And as you say, into the box will come Yuri. He's already committed to the pit lane, and that is such a tricky line if you're behind someone that's coming into the box, because effectively they're sitting on the apex of the corner that you want to be on. DRS is now enabled, but in comes Yuri off of these hard tyres.
Casper up into the top 3 now. He has a penalty on him as Baza will just slip in behind. He'll take some DRS and hopefully try and get himself back through. Casper, I believe, is also finished on his pit stop strategy. So he is fighting very much for position. You can see Leroy in front of him, potential race winner. But, well, he can't get himself by Baza, so it'll certainly help Leroy out for the time being. And I tell you what, look at this, Newgarden and Yuri fighting side by side. Oh, this is the last thing that Yuri needs. And down the inside goes Newgarden. Oh, nice switchback, very nice switchback, but no DRS. I don't think either of them got the DRS, so it's just going to be a pure drag race down towards turn 4. And I think Newgarden has decided that he's going to let Yuri go there. Bit disappointing from our point of view, but it makes sense, doesn't it, for them to let Yuri go?
Yeah, big time. Yuri needs to really get on it now. Lap 23 of 36, so we're 2/3 of the way in. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2 for Mick Schumacher, who's gone around the same corner, and he's going to have to get out of the way because he's sitting right in the middle of the track, and he just about gets avoided by Yuri and Newgarden as they come around, and those tyres will not be playing ball over the next endless lap, so he's going to have to watch out coming into Vaya. He's going to go around again, and
this is bad.
Straight into the path of Quinn.
Quinn has had his race absolutely ruined there. Because I tell you what, he was on a properly decent run, because he would have been able to catch up with the guys ahead. He had finished his pit stops, I believe, and now he is stuck. And I may have a little bit of damage as well, but he's got indecisive on him, and that is just the worst luck possible. Casper did get himself in front of Baza and stayed there, and so can he now chase down Leroy? You would have said yes if he were still on his wheel, wouldn't you? But on the pad, is he acclimatised yet? Will he be able to make it happen? Or will Leroy, who's catching the current race leader, Lesty, be able to get this thing to the end of the race and take the regular season championship?
I mean, I'm trying to look at the points of how this works in the moment. I believe it's Matt Lester that would take the regular season championship with the results going in the way they are.
But of course, he's got to pit again.
And yeah, as you say, has to stop, which then goes to Leroy. With Leroy way ahead of Yuri, so at the moment it's going the way of Leroy, and then Sully as well, with of course Yuri down in P7, but will be going to the end. Lap 25 of 36. This is where it gets complicated as everyone tries to work out where everyone's positions are. As Newgarden sitting 9/10 of a second now behind Yuri, as we've got another yellow for indecisive. So this is going to be right in the middle of the circuit. Is he going to? Don't reverse. Please don't reverse.
That's a black flag if you do that, mate. Yeah. Be careful.
as this game does not like you reversing on circuit, but
Yeah, it really
manages to
doesn't.
get away with it. But this is where you're going to have to look after the tyres. I was thinking previously with Mick Schumacher I mean, you just knew as soon as he'd spun around, those tyres weren't going to go around the penultimate corner. You just had to get out the throttle and get out of the way. And yeah, a silly move. And I think Quinn won't be best pleased about that at all. Newgarden still sticking with Yuri. I'm sure, however, Yuri be telling him, "You stay there. I'll drag you towards everyone else. We don't need you getting in front of me. I'm chasing down my brother." And in fact, Leroy now only 4 tenths behind Matt Lester, and on a much nicer set of tyres. And this one is elementary and gets past, cruises up to the braking zone at turn 3, already in the lead of this one. And Leroy taking the lead on lap 26 of 36.
And is that the move that will win him the regular season championship? Let's say it'll take quite a lot for him to lose it now. Even a safety car, I'm not entirely sure that would ruin it for him, because he's in that position now, track position at this stage when you've got decent tyres is key. Although Mick Schumacher might try and challenge that, because he's been in the wall and we do have another safety car.
He's got no front wing as well, and he's left some debris. It looks as though it's just off the racing line, so we're not going to see an issue of OKK spreading front wing in front of about 4
that
cars.
Affected the worst
Yeah,
car.
that was great. I've always enjoyed having both a front and a rear puncture on the same side, and effectively looking as though you're sinking into the ground like the Titanic.
Yeah. Because you've not mentioned it that many times tonight about how many times it's gone wrong for you, because you were the worst affected as Leroy takes his opportunity to pit again. I think he's recognised that the drivers around him are still actually yet to finish their strategy, so he can actually stick another set of tyres on and not lose anything relative to the guys he's actually racing.
Yuri in as well, so Yuri in for another set, or for a set of soft tyres to go to the
must
end.
Be soft. I mean, Leroy's gone for the medians, so what other option do you have? I mean, Casper for soft, that makes sense because he can go to the end and try and win the race on those. Yeah, and the rest might all be on softs as well. Has Leroy made a mistake, perhaps, in going too conservative? Because it is softs for all of them. It's softs for all of them, apart from Leroy. Oh, wow.
It's a brave move staying out, isn't there? Like, I mean, Matt Lester staying out as well. Bazza 17 laps and 16 laps.
Has Kaya completed his strategy, by the way?
I'm trying to work it out.
Because if he has, he is genuinely second place.
Yeah, that's
which
what
will also cause issues for guys having to fight him, because he won't be putting out of their way.
He's sitting on 3 seconds as well. But yeah, he's made 3 stops, so unless he's made 2 under the safety car, then Kaya is somehow in, as you say, a net P2. Of course, everyone else behind.
Race, hasn't he, in fairness?
He's kept out the way. Of course, he had to stop early on when he got collected up in the incident, I believe, between Marco Schneider and Indecisive. So kept out the way and use this time, Kaya, to recover that battery. It's down at 20%. Just heavy braking into some of these corners, trying and make sure you recover it, because you'll need it off the restart, because behind you you've got the likes of Casper and Yuri that will be charging on fresh softs. But it's going to be about a 6-7 lap sprint to the flag. We've got Mick Schumacher quite a way off the back of the pack, so I imagine the safety car will stay out for at least another lap. It is a short lap time, so he may catch it by the end of this lap, but I would expect the safety car to stay out one more lap. But I don't know how to call this one.
Yeah, it's interesting how this is going, because I tell you what, Harry Collier will be sitting there thinking many things about Mick Schumacher right now. Because without the incidents happening there, he would have been in a much nicer position. Obviously, the penalty, there's nothing he can do about it, but it is, I believe, still on for an okay result. I mean, but he would have wished he was on the sauce right now.
I'm very, very grateful to Jess that wrote down the permutations of how Yuri could win the championship for every position that he finishes in. So I'll read off. If he finishes where he is, which is in 6th position, which of course we're not expecting to be the same by the end of this race, but if he finishes in 6th, Jess must finish 5th or higher, Sully and Leroy must finish 3rd or higher, Sully and Leroy must be 3 places above Jess to finish above her in the standings. If Yuri or Jess were tied with Leroy in points, Leroy would win on countback due to more wins. Leslie and Newgarden must win the race if Yuri's in 6th position, where Newgarden would then win on countback if Yuri and Jess are tied with Newgarden. So there you go. Very, very easy for you to all understand how it works.
Yeah. Very easy to understand until, of course, we bring up the fact that the top 2 are yet to make their second stops. So, which ruins it all completely. So, yeah. It's just. Do you know what? See, when they get to the checkered flag, do the maths then.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear. We've got 14 of you watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Who's going to win this? Where is going to go? Someone work out the maths.
So, someone get your calculators out.
I'm so desperately ill that I can't. I can barely talk at the moment. I had to have about a 3-hour nap before this just to have the energy to get through it.
Oh dear.
We've got Leroy leading from Kaya. If you had predicted that,
but I just love the fact that it's ruined your ability to do basic maths.
Oh, my brain is honestly, it's like thinking through fog at the moment. We've got Leroy leading from Kaya and Casper. Now, if you told me at the start of the season that the last race of the regular season would have Leroy from Kaya from Casper, I would have told you to stop taking meth. But
well,
we've got. The safety car in this lap, so it's going to release Lesty, who's due to make another stop. Banzer are due to make another stop, so they'll surely do 1 lap and then come into the box for a set of softs, which will promote Leroy up. What do we see from this restart? From Casper, will he charge on Kaya? What do we see from Yuri? Because he needs to get up and challenge Leroy for position. So he needs to not only be quick off the restart, but careful, because wing damage will effectively end anyone's race from now. So Matt Lester on the restart waits for the DRS line. He can go anytime from now. We're waiting. He's going to wait right to the line, and there we go. So it's going to bunch everyone up going down towards turn 1, and already we've got Leroy up the inside and trying to get the move done on Casper. Behind, we see Casper has gone around. Casper goes around her. They exit the turn 1.
Oh, that could be another safety car. There's so much chaos down there, and there's Yuri's reversing up the hill. Could that be his championship over? I would probably say yes, unless he gets another safety car and he spins again. He's an angry Dutchman, and you can understand why. And it's all going off at turn 3 as well. Jess off for the 2nd time on this restart lap, and this has been all thrown up into the air once again. Leroy pretty much has this won now, as long as he doesn't have any more accidents. And with the rate that we're going, it's hard to predict, because there's another front wing gone. It's Newgarden's this time. So an absolutely chaotic restart, which has absolutely made Leroy's day. But he has to get himself by Leslie first. It should be easy to do so if we don't get a safety car, which ruins pit stops, as Indecisive off into the grass. Leslie does make the pits, and Harry will be up into 2nd place on his Joker, so that's not going too badly for him either, fighting wheel to wheel with Kaya, who'll be up into a podium position, and Mick in 4th place on good tyres, but in the wall again in the final corner. And will that put out a safety car? You bet it will. And we're gonna get everyone back in it again. That's what you want to see. That's exactly what Lesty wanted to see as he got onto the pit lane. They all, I believe, were committed enough in. I don't think it really matters. They were all finished on the mandatories. Jess on the softs. Net 2nd place right now. This puts her in a pretty good spot as well.
Yeah, it does indeed. And this would put her up ahead of just having a look at the points. Jess sitting on 78 points, Leroy sitting on 75 points, so 5 points advantage. So she would just miss out. Yeah, she needs to attack. I mean, with Harry Collier as well, who, I don't know. It's almost like Kaya and Harry are blockers at the moment, isn't it? She needs to be. She needs to be attacking Leroy. Leroy's sitting very happy.
They're allowed to be there. They're allowed to be there.
Absolutely.
Very much earned their spots so far, but they're not going to be putting out of the way. But if we have a restart similar to the last one, then anything could happen. As Harry into the pits, the latest call I've ever seen for the pit lane. Almost certainly illegal, but we don't really care. For the entertainment value, we appreciate this. Thank you very much, sir.
So, Sully up in P4 as well. He's on new softs, or relatively new softs. I say new softs, they're probably towards the middle point of their life. But
I've just realised, by the way, I'm laughing at that. I'm also looking at Kaya. I've just remembered he's done this whole race with his ERS on. Which is almost...
he's under the safety car with his battery on. Kaya, turn off your battery.
Kaya, turn it off.
Please.
Because, now the thing is though, Kaya, if he turns his flaming ERS off, he might have a chance at attacking Leroy on the restart. This is actually in a race-winning position if he can get himself ahead and if things happen.
There we go. Thank you, Kaya.
Good man, Kaya. Thank you.
Right.
Because this is important now. You're in a very high position in this race. You've genuinely got a chance at the result. Don't blow the ERS under the safety car. Come on. That's not even a kid in a sweet shop. That's a kid scrounging outside the sweet shop. It's ridiculous. You gotta... think about what you're doing.
I mean, and just remember, Kaya, go full send or nothing. Just don't give Leroy a chance.
No brakes into turn one. You can do it flat.
Exactly. No fear. I imagine the fear all lies with Leroy Hasselager sitting in P1 at the moment. Safety car stays up for another. We're going to have a 3 or 4 lap dash to the flag, which is what we always love to see. Safety car takes a very wide exit through the final corner.
Has he seen Schumacher's line? That's a risky thing to do.
Yeah, it's true. Well, Marco Schneider, who seemingly hit every bit of wall and spun at every single corner on this track so far tonight, he's been the one that comes out as Yuri overtakes Indecisive. Oh, Indecisive's gone around again. So Indecisive, with a car that looks as though it's gone off-roading, is unfortunately now down to 13th position under the safety cars. So... oh, Yuri's going to be livid down in P12.
I know, but do you know what? An angry Yuri will be very exciting on this last restart. He is not going to stop at anything. If you think Charlie Leclerc on lap 1 of a Formula 1 race is aggressive, wait till you see this. Because he's going to have to pass 11 cars in 2 laps, 3 laps. He's heated his tyres up better than anyone else out there. His tyres are newer than half the guys in front of him, and if Kaya has a go at Leroy, then do you know what? There might just be a chance in there for him. The issue is, Jess is up there as well, and so it needs a miracle, doesn't it? But we saw the crashing started right at the front on that last restart, so it's not out of the question to say if it all kicks off at the front again, it can be someone from the rear who moves up, and so you're always in it right until the end, and he's still got a fully intact car. But the safety car is going to start for another lap, so we're only going to get a 2-lap shootout here. My goodness, the tension on this restart.
And this is what we want from a regular season finale, isn't it? You always want that. I mean, we had it the last season as well in the Kia series that Vicini unfortunately spun at the final corner and decided to flat spin it in the path of all the leaders coming through and took out 3 of them. So we saw a last lap dash for the flag in this one, and we're going to get it this time around. We've got Leroy from Kaya, Jess and Sully. Now, we've got Kaya, Robin and Harry all sitting on 3-second time penalties. Well, 2 laps to the flag, so that will effectively promote Yuri up a couple of positions because it'll overtake at least 2 of them. As Casper's in the comments, let us know what happened, Casper. We saw you got tangled at T1. Unfortunately, it looks as though you're not even fit for Kia, so it's time to retire, isn't it?
It's time to hang the helmet up. Speaking of which, Indecisive is not going to catch up.
No, he must have floor damage because he's spun twice under the safety car. So that he's got that floor damage that everyone loves to see, where it's basically undrivable. Safety car in this lap, and
obviously you're ill. You're ill. You're going to have to ignore the illness for 2 laps because you're about to see the restart of a lifetime. This is the type of race that I'm happier to be commentating in than taking part in.
100%.
Because this is... you don't want to be any of the remaining 12 drivers in this train having to try and navigate this with Kaya in 2nd place. Sorry, that's a bit mean. But he is thinking about it. He's on the oldest tyres. They've all got to try and get at Leroy. It's not a slight against Kaya, it's a genuine issue. And if he goes for it, then Leroy's going to be absolutely livid. There's so much that's going to happen here, Gareth. Take us through it.
Here we go. DRS zone is your activation point. How early would he go? He's gone. So does Kaya go with him? He's fallen back a little bit to about half a second, but it's a good restart from Leroy. So it's going to be Leroy into turn 1, Kaya in P2. Jess is going to follow Kaya through. And Kaya takes a good line through the exit of turn 1. He's only half a second behind. So now is the time to use that battery. You've got 2 laps to effectively close up and pass. It's going to be Leroy at the moment, your regular season champion. It's going to be Jess in second. And Sully. Oh, Jess gets pushed from behind. Oh, big crash.
Massive pile up. Who gets through this? This is exactly what Yuri was looking for. But he's part of the pile up, and that's championship definitely over for him now. There is an absolute graveyard of cars up at turn 3, and that is going to put Jacko up into 4th place. Can Jacko go on and get a podium out of nowhere? I said about jammy safety cars. What about jammy restarts? Side by side and ahead of Newgarden, the league owner, making his way up the field now. Brilliant stuff. And Lesty, on the best tyres out there, he's got just the biggest gap though to catch up. I don't think anyone is going to get in Leroy's way. And while he's lucky in the end, it all happened behind him. And he's only got one more lap to secure the championship.
This is going to go down to who's going to finish second and third in the regular season. It is Leroy's to lose. He's sitting 2.9 seconds ahead of anyone. Kaya still running quite nicely in P2. He's on for a podium at the moment. If he can hold on to it as Yuri picks up a pit lane speeding penalty and retires from this one. So he will not be winning the regular season championship. It's going to be Leroy leading from Kaya. From Matt Lester, Jacko is closing in as hard as he can as Harry Collier retires from this one as well. I believe it was Indecisives that effectively did just didn't break into turn 3.
Gotta say, by the way, I've just realised Baz is out there with no front wing and he's fighting away like a champion. This is brilliant stuff. I've got to say, by the way, Leroy's going to catch Indecisive before the end of this lap. You don't want to be on the back of a car that can't keep itself facing in a straight line in turn 9 and 10. So he's got to be properly aware of where he is, because this is not the way you want to lose a race.
Here we go, into the final 2 corners. Is Indecisive going to pull side and just let himself get lapped? Surely. No, he's not. It's going to be, however, Leroy, your regular season champion. Kaya, it's going to come across the line in P2 somehow, but it's going to be ahead of the other 2. But will he hold on to it? He's got to jump off of the podium. Really unfortunate, but I believe a best ever result in JACKOCAR for Kaya. P4, Newgarden, Bazza, Quinn, Robin, Jess drops down to P9. Really unfortunate for her. Sully down in P10. And Indecisive, who would look more at home in the WRC than on an F1 track at the moment, is making his way around the first, or just exiting the first sector. So he's almost got an entire lap to go. But chaos, and that's exactly what we love to see about Kia. And Jacko misses out on P2 by 0.2 of a second.
I know, and I tell you what, someone is going to have to sit Leroy down and explain how he managed to make a near 7-second lead on that last 2 laps, and how the order has changed so dramatically behind him. But I don't think he'll really care. It is the regular series championship, and it's got to be said, after losing the Championship 5 last season, he's really come onto F122, kicked on, obviously well into the playoffs in the Cup Series, and topping the regular series here in Kia. So it appears the only way is up for this guy. He is absolutely loving his league racing at the moment.
Well, thus ends the regular season, and it is Leroy, your regular season champion, who takes a huge haul of bonus points. And
what is this?
First of all, drive the day. Second of all, that race suit is it's horrendously brilliant. But Leroy, the Dutchman, stands on the top step. Another race win here. That's his 3rd of the season, and he goes into the postseason looking as though he's the one to beat. Yuri will be absolutely gutted, and I'm sure a not very happy man with how the restart went on the second to last one. I mean, we need to see some POVs of that safety car restart with, I believe, Indecisive. I'm sure something else might happen, but seemingly not braking going up into turn 3 and ploughing into about 3 cars. But it is Leroy from Matt Lester in P2, Jacko in P3, Kaya up in P4. What a result from Kaya. Newgarden in 5th, Bazza in 6th, Quinn Rage Man, Jess, Sully, indecisive. Yuri retires. He's classified B, retired. Same as Harry Collier. Casper, Mick Schumacher, and Vicinho as well, not able to finish this race. Fastest lap went to Robin Border with a 107.051. But
it's remarkable this. Kai has managed that P4 with absolutely no pace.
A 110.0 has got him in fourth position.
I mean, that tells you there it is. Consistency is the key, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's the same as me. You can be the slowest person on circuit, and you can still get your way up towards the top of this one. And in fact, with my drive today, I'm actually somehow going to give it to Kaya as my first vote. So wow. I'm gonna go Kaya as my first vote, and I think I'm going to go, because I imagine that you're going to give Leroy yours, so I'm going to go Kaya, and I'm going to go Matt Lester for my second vote.
You've taken my vote, because he came from last place on the grid to second. He led for a while as well, so he had a really good run. I'm happy to go Leroy because he did a fantastic job. He did look like he had that under control the whole time, and in a race where the pressure's high, that's exactly what you need, a level head. And it'll be good experience for the Championship 5 if he can make it in both championships later on in the season. And, well, we said about Jacko's strategy calls, and they worked.
You doubted him. Podium. You doubted. He's proved you wrong again, hasn't he?
I wouldn't say I doubted him. I said he would get jammy today, and he did. But he made it work and got a podium. Not entirely sure how he's weaved his way through the Cowarnies at the end, but it's worked out for him, and he's got a podium out of it. So, rather boringly, our drivers of the day will be one of the top 4.
Yeah, effectively. So make sure you head over to @JACKOCAR2, that's number 2, on Twitter, where you can put in your vote for the driver of the day. Check out @JACKOCAR on Twitter for the Cup Series, which will be racing on Thursday evening as they begin their second round of the post-season after an explosive ending, quite literally explosive ending to the first one, which saw about four punctures in about half a lap. Corey managing to make it to the pit lane with what I've never seen before, effectively just on the rim. There was no rubber left at all, so he did a great job.
Straight to the rim, It went straight onto the rim. He wasted no time clearing all that away.
So that one is not one to be missed. Of course, you can tune in Owen and Jacko in the comms box as we head over to Monza. So you were talking that one up because Monza's always been of course we saw that the race, was it 3 seasons ago, where with the cross the line we had a car upside down.
Yep, Arnold upside down. He was going for the win, and then there was somehow a collision with Jake, and they ended up in the attenuator, and it was Arnold upside down, and Jamie Griffiths winning his first ever race in the league, just squeezing through. And then last season we also had the last lap pile up on the run to the either the Della Roger chicane towards the Lesmos. So, yeah, you don't want to miss Monza. For some reason, this lot don't know what they're doing at Monza. But especially the last lap. You want to be watching the last lap of that one.
Yeah, so make sure you tune in, and of course, if you like the stream, make sure you do drop a like on it and subscribe if you're new. JACKOCAR is crazy, it's mental, it's different, but we love it. But we will be back for the first round of the post-season and the playoffs next week here on Tuesday evening. So make sure you join myself, Gareth Hall, and Owen White in the commentary box as we equally head to Monza and Temple of Speed, about 30 minutes north of Milan, and it's set to be a good one. Will we see Leroy continue his good form? Will we see, as you say, a charging Yuri coming off the back of what would be, I'm sure, pretty distressing and depressing from Yuri as he saw it all fall apart in the late stages. But enjoyed that one. Austria, as always delivers. So thanks for joining us tonight, and hopefully we'll see you on Thursday. If not, join us next Tuesday. Good night.